is fine with me, but the problem is when I hear all the solutions that I'm hearing from the BC Liberals is, well, we want to have a hospital with this and that. Well, we had the land. It was Kevin Falcon, the leader of the BC Liberals right now, who sold that land. And if we had just held on to that land, just imagine how much that would be worth in today's real estate value. We could be buying a hospital anywhere we want and building it to the full capacity. So again, that is some ignorance that was shown by the BC Liberals. And that is completely unacceptable. And the NDP can't even come here to answer this question because they know they'll be hammered on this question. They're not going to show up to the table. They know 162 beds is just a flash out there to show everyone. Look at the Patolo Bridge. That's barely even started. They haven't built a single thing over the last almost a decade. They'll be in power, 6-7 years. And it's just ridiculous to me. It just falls on deaf ears, and it's really disingenuous to the constituents of Surrey South here when they talk about the hospital.
Yeah, so the topic of the new hospital, we absolutely need a new hospital, and it shouldn't be something that should be used for political points. Core provincial services, hospitals, schools need to be built, and they need to be built for the needs of the community now and into the future. So absolutely we need a hospital, but is 168 beds, no maternity ward, and no ICU enough? Absolutely not. I hear a lot from the Liberal Party, and I have tremendous respect for the elected MLAs that are here in this room, and they say, well, we don't like the location, we'd like to move the location. You're elected MLAs, provide a location. You're in a position where you have the ability, if you don't like the plan being presented by our current government, to give a new plan. You don't like the location? That's fine, move the location, work with your government, and this requires, of course, collaboration from the NDP who are not here tonight, which I'll give you that, and that requires collaboration from them. If we don't have enough hospital beds, if we don't have a maternity ward, we don't have an ICU, it's not going to be able to service the community, then give us an alternative location, and maybe the NDP will step up and actually say, yeah, you know what, we recognize that we need more spots and we need a full service hospital. The NDP can tell promises of a new hospital all they want, but our health service system is collapsing. We don't pay our healthcare workers enough, we're not supporting them. In order to support them, we need to revamp our system. We need mental health care that's accessible and affordable, and one way that the BC Greens want to do this is to introduce, on a trial basis, universal mental health care system, similar to what we have. Of course, this is on a trial basis, but this is one thing we can do. We need to address all the crises. Thank you.
So for 4 years, the NDP has been promising to build a second hospital in Surrey and Cloverdale. But I can tell you that they actually have had no budget, no line item in their budget for that hospital until this year when they were hounded by the BC Liberals to actually budget some money to show that they were actually serious about building this hospital, and they only put $2 million in that budget, which I can tell you isn't probably even enough to get the drawings done. So we are committed to getting a second hospital for Surrey. We want to have that hospital built. We want to make sure we are pressuring them because we want it to have the services that Surrey needs now. One of those things is, of course, an ICU. We want to have a maternity ward, and we want it to be more than 168 beds. We've heard from the NDP, they said, oh, that's not what you need right now. But I have met with people from Fraser Health that told me that there are already 1,200 births over capacity at Surrey Memorial Hospital, and they're always on diversion, which means that we're sending people to other communities to have their children. So we are committed to having the hospital, regardless of the misinformation by the NDP that they are spreading. We will see this hospital built in Surrey, and they have committed to you, they have promised you that they will have shovels in the ground next year. And if that's the case, we don't have to worry about it being moved. But I can tell you this, a promise isn't worth anything unless you can get it done.
Eleanor, that was very well scripted. Your campaign people are fantastic. Keep up the good work, guys. You're doing a great job. Politicians are always promising things. They want to build you things. The people who create the problem are then the ones who are going to borrow a bunch of money, take our money, borrow, and then build something and say, we're going to do this with your money, and it's going to be great. The fact of the matter is, each one of these candidates up here has pointed out the fact that, it's okay, you can turn it up. The fact that the hospitals, the medical system right now is failing. We cannot manage the system we have. So how about we do a better job there, starting there? I do not agree with the other candidate who said, hey, let's let the unvaccinated come back to work and we'll segregate them. We know how that story ended up at another time in history. We do not stand for any sorts of segregation of any kind. We now know that this novel gene therapy does not stop transmission or infection, period. End of story. Let's stop this noise. We all know that. It's not a secret. Secondly, open competition. We need beds. Let's let entrepreneurs come out. Let's let private money come in and provide those beds and provide those hospitals. And we stand for legalizing your right to choose between public and private. We stand for your right to choose between public and private. That would alleviate the problem of beds and the staffing shortages. Thank you very much.
Yay.